So Maheshji is asking a question. And the question is, are you also hearing this voice that this meeting is being recorded? Yeah,
Yes.
good. Yeah. So what is the meaning of Upajuhvat? Um, Juhvati means offers. Juhoti, Juhvati. And Upa is a prefix. Upa means Samipe. Upa Samipe. So Samipe means near, near, being near. Being near means what? With alertness. You offer it means you're alertly doing this thing. You're not mechanically doing things. All our actions can be mechanical. Any action can be mechanical. So here it says don't be mechanical. Upajukpati. So do whatever you do a sankalpa, be clear about why you're doing something and do it with that alertness. So we can interpret this upajukpati that way. Okay. And if there are any rules to be followed, follow all those rules. Don't just do things. If you have to do certain things, there are people around you. So some decorum, some etiquette, all these things we have to follow. And you can't sit in the middle of everybody and say, I'm going to do meditation. And what are others? What are they supposed to do? Is watch you or what? And no, you find a way to excuse yourself and quietly go and do your meditation. Don't make a big fuss about it. No, I'm doing meditation. You all should keep quiet. And this means what you're imposing. I'm imposing myself on everybody else. And now people are going to get tired of you. And this fellow is ever since he started Bhagavad Gita classes on the Zoom, and then he's become a big nuisance for us. You know, this is not supposed to be the case. And so Upajukpati, you too much alertness. Look at all these words and how Krishna uses all these words. We have to. We have to. That's why there is not just straightforward. You can't simply say I'm studying Bhagavad Gita and then bother everybody in the family. You can't do that. And you just keep it to yourself and then let things happen. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. There are no other questions. We can resume with our conversations, discussions.
Yeah, Bhavani ji, you can start.
Yeah, thank you. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. All shlokas in chapter 2 are pearls of wisdom. So I have chosen to summarize chapter 2 today. When Jai Kumar ji concluded the teaching of chapter 2, he had mentioned that we could summarize it in 5 sections. So I'm using those 5 sections to summarize all the verses that we learned. So I did that. So the second chapter actually lays the foundation for all the teachings in the Bhagavad Gita. So the first segment is called Arjuna Sharanagati. So it has verses 1 to 10. Here we see Arjuna is completely immersed in grief, shoka, caused by attachment, raga, to his kith and kin, and delusion, moha, unable to make a proper decision about his participation in the impending war. And he surrenders to Lord Krishna to solve the problem. So from this segment, we learn that raga, attachment, is a weakness leading to loss of free will and inability to make decisions. So it also leads to grief, shoka, and confusion, moha. And so we become a slave to our emotions, leaving us in a very helpless state. The second segment is Jnana Yoga or Sankhya Yoga, has verses 11 to 38. It talks about the pursuit of self-knowledge, that is knowing who I am. So Lord Krishna here responds to Arjuna by telling him that being very timid is really unworthy of a noble mind. So if he participates in the war and he wins, he can enjoy the kingdom. Then if he dies, he will attain the heavenly abode or Swarga. But if he does not participate in the war, it brings demerit. So he also explains the transmigration of the soul, and that physical sensations are transitory, and everything that exists always existed. And Arjuna and his family will simply pass from one body to the next. And self is the only eternal part of the eternal fabric of the universe, and it's all pervading conscious entity, which makes the individual soul or the jiva, which houses the mind and intellect, to come alive. So also attributes of the Atma being Nitya, Satya, Akarta, Abhokta, Nirvikara, and Aprameya are all explained in this segment. So from this, we understand the nature of existence, Jiva, Jagat, and Ishvara, and all their interrelationships. So once we realize the unity, that unity is the essence of the diverse forms, then the concept of discreteness, distinctness of one's own self with others gets dissolved. And this will lead to lasting contentment, peace, and bliss. The next segment has verses 39 to 53, and it describes Karma Yoga. So in this section, the laws and methods of practicing Karma Yoga are explained. We have eligibility and rights to only perform an action, but not to the fruits of the action. And we should engage in Swadharma and carry out our responsibilities and duties. And we should do our daily chores, work in the society with passion, cheerfulness, and a focused mind without getting attached to the results. So from this, we understand that all work must be performed with an attitude of offering all actions as offering to Ishvara, which is Ishvara Arpana Buddhi, and receiving results as a gift, Prasada Buddhi. Karma Yoga is essential to purify the Chitta, Antakarana Shuddhi, to gain knowledge of the self, Jnana Yoga. And a person who practices Karma Yoga finally is ready to receive the knowledge of the self, which is Jnana Yoga. The fourth segment is traits of a wise man, Sthita Prajna Lakshanam. So this has verses 54 to 72. And these verses, Lord Krishna describes a jnani as one who is equanimous, samatvam. He is one who has a steady mind with respect to hot, cold, success, failure, honor, dishonor, pain and pleasure, and so on. He is one who has discovered that he is Atma, the imperishable Brahman, who is functioning through the finite body, which houses the mind and intellect. He can give up anything without feeling that he is missing anything. He uses the sense organs and mind, but he is not a slave to it. So the final verse 72, explains two things, Brahmi Sthiti and Brahma Nirvanam. So once a person is established in Brahman, meaning the person is in a God-realized state, then he remains that way till the end of one's life and gains liberation. So, it's not actually a state, it is, you have attained that Brahman, and so then you remain that way all your life and then gain liberation. So as human beings, we are all Arjunas confronting issues in our daily life and seeking solutions. The Gita gives us words of wisdom and practical solutions. And it acts as a guide for leading a better and fulfilling life. So I would like to thank Jaykumarji for his unending support and encouragement for us to present our understanding on this platform. And of course, all my sahapatis for listening. Hari Om. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhavani. Bhavani is a classmate of mine, and we all studied Bhagavad Gita together long ago. And we used to study on the phone at one time, I think, right? We used to have a phone conference call and then study a group of 5 or 6 of us. And phone, I think we used to meet at your places in Clear Lake. But then after that, I think I moved to Columbus, and then we continued the study on the phone, I think, for some time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we continued for a while, and then of course we were able to join you.
Okay. Yeah. Good. So you summarize the entire chapter 2. So introduction, Atma Vidya, and then Karma Yoga, and then Sthita Prajna Lakshanam. So that's the way second chapter is laid out. Good. Thanks, Pawan. Anybody else?
No one else has volunteered so far, Guruji.
Okay. So we can ask the question, who is going to volunteer for the next class? Okay, good. Narayan is coming up. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalacha Hastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanataya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalacha Hastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanataya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalasha Hastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanataya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Thank you.
Dhanyawada, Guruji.
Dhanyawada Guruji.
Dhanyawada Guruji. Thank you.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದः.
Okay.